probably one of the most gracious people that you'll ever meet. We get a chance to spend time with today. And I got a big smile on my face. And that smile is, it happens a lot. But I tell you, this morning, I was so excited because I knew that this man was going to be able to change my day. He said something quickly, and we'll talk about it. It's called Be Bamboo, and it's going to blow your mind. And it helped me because he had no idea that I had a challenge today. I went in to get some service on my car. The people said some things that I didn't want them to say, or maybe it landed different with me. And I was that Karen. I was that guy. I was the parent that no kid wants to be around this morning. But you know who set me on fire, who set me back right, was Bart Berkey. And you guys get a chance to be able to spend some time with him. He's one of the top keynote speakers in the world, one of the most sought after. He has a background with the Ritz-Carlton. This guy is unbelievable. When I asked him, is there any titles that you want me to talk about? He said, I'm the founder and CEO of Most People Don't. And I said, well, is there anything you want me to pad on so your wife thinks you're even cooler? And then, as cool as a cucumber, he sat back and said, my wife already knows that I'm cool. So it's my honor and my pleasure. This guy is a man that shines the light on every single other person. If you want to grow your business, if you want to take your conference to the next level, if you want to understand how to be a true impactful influencer on LinkedIn, you should follow this man because he could light you on fire. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
The man, the myth, the champ is in the building. Bart Berkey, how you doing, buddy?
I am excellent. And I got to tell you, the little intro video, the number of smiles, it just warmed me up for the day. And that's what you're doing, Kelly Cardenas, right? And sharing the vibe with so many other people. I am thrilled to be on your show and to be able to just talk, right? Share some good ideas and help spread love and positivity because people certainly need it today. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I want to tell everybody out there watching and listening that when we're not recording, this is the same guy. So I've had challenges in the past, Bart, where I'll have a person have like video voice or audio voice or stage voice. And I want to compliment you because, Bart, you live the message. And you were telling me about I alluded to it earlier as far as Be Bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get into that part of it, but
Yeah.
tell me about the little barista who lost her voice.
Yeah. So just literally got back last night from a conference in Charlotte, North Carolina. And one message that I share with the audience is see something, not say something. And, that was, I don't want to say that was the influence, but there were signs posted after 9/11, which was very important, right? If you see something that looks suspicious, say something. Okay, great. And the aspect of most people don't is to do what most people don't. So when we're sharing this message with audiences, we're now saying, see something, do something. Don't wait to think that someone else is going to do it. Don't be afraid of how people are going to perceive you. Here we are at a conference, thousands and thousands of people, and there was a Starbucks in the convention center. You could see that the line was crazy busy. There was probably 40 people waiting after their coffee order was placed, Kelly. They were waiting for their coffee. That's how busy it was. Had probably another 60 people in line. And the barista, the Starbucks employee, was beginning to lose her voice. So she couldn't really call out very loudly, Kelly, here's your iced coffee. And I thought, see something, do something. There's coffee that's sitting on the counter that's getting cold because people can't hear it, right? So I went up and I just asked her, I have a loud voice. Do you mind? Can you use some help? And she said, gladly. So that's what I did. So I'm reading the coffee labels, Nick, you got cappuccino for Nick, right? Americano for David, cold brew for Debbie, whatever the case was. And I just helped expedite things for a little bit because it was going to be at least 10 minutes for my coffee to come up. And people were appreciative. And I didn't do it to be appreciative. I did it to be able to help. Just a fun little simple story. The 40 people that were waiting for their coffee certainly could have done the same thing. See something, do something. And I kind of thought I waited for a second to see if anyone would do. And sadly, no one did. But after people hear the message and hear the story, maybe they will start doing. And that's the whole goal, right? Most people don't do certain things, but we share ideas to encourage people to do, to take action, regardless of how people might perceive it. If there's trash on the floor, don't step over it, pick it up. If there's someone that needs assistance, I was in a restaurant the other day and a woman got up from her table and she was coughing aggressively. And she went outside and I went to check on her. No one else did. The party that she left at the table didn't go to check in on her. I wanted to make sure that she was okay. And she said, "Thank you so much. I'm not choking on food. I swallowed water the wrong way." But she was so grateful. See something, do something. I mean, that's it, right? That's how we should live our lives. And just a good reminder. And I'm not saying that because I did it, I'm anything special or gracious. It's not cutting down the people that didn't do something, but it's a reminder that we all can do something when we see something.
Let's go back to young Bart, right? Because I love the origin stories of this. I would like to think that you were just this crazy guy and then you started working with the Ritz-Carlton and they shaped you up. But you were attracted to the Ritz-Carlton because they were aligned with the type of foundational principles that you had in your life. Young Bart, where did he learn that most people don't? So you should.
Yes, probably from influence of my mother, mainly my mother and my father. My mother was always inviting people over, and God bless her, she's still kicking, living in Pittsburgh by herself, 88 years old. We'll probably see her this weekend. My father passed away about 10 years ago. But my mother was always doing for other people. Even if we didn't have money, she was making people feel special. She was an art teacher at one point. My father was also an art teacher. So the things that she did then and continues to do, she finds an article, Kelly, that she thinks you'll be interested in. She's going to cut it out and she will put it in the mail. And she'll put a $2 bill in there because that's what she does. And she'll put smiley stickers all over. And she might get a card from the store, but she's going to edit it about 10 different ways to make it seem like it's for you. She found this card just for you, Kelly Cardenas. And that's special. That's unique and that's different. I believe I started to learn from my mother and from watching her. And then growing up, and I know you didn't ask this question, but if I could add on to it, growing up, I seem to be always, and I don't know why or how, but rooting for the underdog, kind of being annoyed with the overdog. I don't like people that are entitled or cocky or arrogant. I don't like it. I try to be flexible and accepting people, but I lean toward wanting to help the underdog. And in my book, I think it's in the prologue, I talk a little bit about Betsy. Never forget, second grade, we would play kickball during recess. And one day I was the captain and I chose Betsy first. And that's almost the story. Choose Betsy, choose the Betsy. And Betsy was this cute red-haired girl, pink cheeks, not an athlete in second grade by any imagination, not the best kickball performer by any imagination, but she never got picked first. And I will remember, and I don't know what motivated me to do it in second grade, but I was captain and I picked Betsy first. And that's just kind of seemed to be the theme going through the rest of my life, getting into hospitality and wanting to help people, wanting to do for other people. And not in a way that would make me feel bad, like I'm a servant to you or I'm below you. I'm equal to you, but I can make you feel better. I can make you feel a certain way, certainly, which aligns, Kelly, with your message about the vibe. That's what attracted me to Ritz-Carlton, because we were at the time, and still are, ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Right? No one, despite how much money they had, what their title was, no one was better than our housekeeper. No one was better than a front desk agent. What I remember specifically is that there were times that we would fire a customer. We would fire a guest if they weren't treating us like a lady or gentleman.
Mm.
So important and so unique. And it brings back to one of my first jobs. I was a bartender at a country club. Never will forget. This is a time, Kelly, and to your listeners and followers, when you could still smoke indoors. I'm a bartender behind the bar. Woman was smoking. She asked for an ashtray. I didn't have one readily available. I said, give me a few moments. I'll go get you one. And she threw her lit cigarette right at my face. Lit cigarette right at my face. That's not really treating me like a gentleman. And that's not really acting like a lady. That's what resonated with me with Ritz-Carlton. People that were treating each other well for the common good of helping others. It's pretty fun.
So most people, when they go into a service for people, you deliver unbelievable service, not only in your career, but also I've experienced it on your podcast. Like, you honor people at the highest level. Most of the time when people do that, they a lot of times lacked that from other people early on, and they didn't want other people to feel that. Was that the case with you growing up? Was there times where you felt like the underdog? Were there times where you felt like maybe your mom or your dad wasn't getting treated the way that they should? So you wanted to make that better as you move forward?
I don't think we were ever treated poorly. I was an athlete in middle school. I was an athlete in high school and in college, played Division I volleyball. I got good grades. I was very popular. I don't think I ever felt like I was the underdog with that. Thinking about my family, we did not have money, but we felt wealthy. We would go out to dinner occasionally. And Kelly, I don't know if this would resonate with you and your background, but it was a big deal. And we would ask my dad, are we allowed to get drinks? Are we allowed to get drinks? We're going out to the local little diner. We're getting a hamburger for dinner. It's a family of 5. I had 2 older sisters. Dad, are we allowed to get drinks? And it was a big deal if we were able to get drinks. And you know how we ordered the root beer or the Coke or the Sprite?
No ice.
Guess. No ice. Why? Because we wanted as much of that delicious soda as we could possibly get, because they weren't doing free refills. Big deal. Can we get a soda? Can we get a drink? And I'll have it with no ice. So I remember those times. I remember those opportunities, but never felt like we needed anything or wanted anything.
Mm-hmm.
My father, in addition to being an art teacher, was a silversmith. So he would create silver jewelry. He would love your pendant that you're wearing if he was still with us. And that's how he made additional income. That was an entrepreneur side that I started to see, that in the garage every single day after work, he would work on these magnificent silver bracelets and silver necklaces and great rings. And he would go to craft shows and he would sell them, Kelly. And what he found is that something as ornate that you're wearing might be very, very expensive. So he's proud of it, but he knows someone's probably not going to buy a $900 necklace in 1981. He started to make these little silver rings that would take him seconds to do, and he would sell them for $2. What he found is that most people at the time could afford a $2 ring. Little kids were coming up and getting a $2 ring. And that's how he essentially was able to save enough money, make enough money to send 3 kids to college. Yeah, right. Just, I mean, what a remarkable way, a selfless way to be able to take care of your family. And then he also did calligraphy. So Kelly, you would come up and for $1, he would do in Old English, he would write out your name on a nice piece of stock cardboard that was recycled, and he would sell that for $1. So selling $2 silver rings and dollar postage, dollar signs on a poster board, that was enough money to get us to college.
Wow. Take us to maybe a specific with your mom where those lessons of her sending out because when we look back on it now, she's in her 80s. We could look back at it, we could kind of laugh, and we could say, wow, that was such a huge thing. Take us back to a specific when you were growing up where maybe it landed, or you started to realize, this thing makes a difference, as opposed to you just being mad at your mom for taking the time away from doing whatever you were doing to clip the magazine and to do the thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a particular time. Actually, she would do it for us as well, for the kids. And thinking back to a time, Valentine's Day. Her favorite color was red. My father's favorite color was red. Valentine's Day was a big thing for my mother. And she would make sure that the kids, that we all felt special. And we would have breakfast before school. My dad would, be there getting ready with us as well. We're all sitting down typically to a breakfast table. And my mother would always give me something red, whether it was a $3 red Matchbox car, whether it was a box of chocolate covered cherries, and she wrapped them in red paper. For Christmas, she would wrap things like, and this is no exaggeration, like a jar of peanuts, if we like peanuts, because she wanted to make it appear that we had more gifts to open. And that's also a story in my book about gift wrapped groceries. She would wrap like literally cans of peas and put them underneath the Christmas tree. So it looked like we had more presents. Yeah. Imagine unwrapping a can of peas. Right. Thanks, Mom. But she was thoughtful. She wanted us to feel good. Right. And hadn't really thought about that story for a long time, Kelly. So thank you for reminding me. So I did see things like that. Little touches, little of going above and beyond, little doing what most people don't. A huge influence. And thank you for reminding me of her, because that's important. That's special.
You have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, 2 older sisters.
Okay.
Both of them still live in the Pittsburgh area. And one of them was a teacher. Well, actually, both of them were teachers. One is retired and one is semi-retired.
Okay.
But also very giving and very kind, very focused on helping others, really through education primarily.
How did you guys get along? How many years there between the three of you, and how did you guys get along? Were you guys tight, or was there a separation?
Yeah, separation now for somewhat unknown reasons with one of the sisters, but extremely close with the older one. So 4 years apart. So 4 years ahead of me, middle, and then 4 years ahead of me, my older sister, Lori and Nora are their names. We, because of the age difference, they were very protective of me. I was their little brother. And I remember my one sister, Nora, actually standing up for me many occasions if I was ever getting picked on. If I'm a 7-year-old and we're out sled riding and this one kid was being a bully, my sister Nora would certainly stand in and protect me, which was unusual, I think, for love, right? Love for a younger brother.
Yeah.
Pretty cool and pretty special. My older sister, Lori, who has recently retired, is so supportive of my messaging, which is really kind of fun. This was last year. I was able to go back to Pittsburgh and I presented in front of a kickoff for a school district. And my mother was able to come. My sister was there, my brother-in-law, my son came to help videotape. And what was unique about that is my sister so embraced the message that she continues to say, you taught me that when I pass by a homeless person, it's okay not to be afraid. And so we went to the Strip District, which is an area of Pittsburgh. And there was a gentleman, this was December. It was minus 11 degrees. It was Christmas Eve. And there was a gentleman that was freezing his tail off, sitting on the sidewalk, a little sign, can you please help me? And I went up and I introduced myself, and his name was Chris. And I had about $5 cash in my pocket. I gave it to him. And I said, are you okay for tonight? Do you have a place to stay? And he said he's trying to stay with a friend, whatever. But maybe it was the generosity and the spirit of Christmas Eve, but I bought him a hot cup of coffee. And then I went next door and I couldn't find a blanket in one of these shops, but it was a very big, thick, warm, almost thermal-like scarf. And it was black and gold for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I told the shop owner, there's a homeless gentleman, and I just wanted to buy him something. So I bought it. It was like $18. And to be honest, Kelly, I wouldn't spend $18 to buy myself a scarf. I wouldn't spend money on me for that. I would buy it for you. I would buy it for my kids. I would buy it for a homeless gentleman. And it was interesting when I purchased it, and I told them why I was doing it, not to get credit, but just to kind of see their reaction. I guess it was just more natural.
Yeah.
And there was another customer in the store, and they said, "Oh, well, that's so nice of you." If we see something, Kelly, what could they have done?
Hmm.
Here's a dude that is helping someone that is homeless, literally minus 11 degrees in Pittsburgh, Christmas Eve. I see someone that's doing something. Maybe I could buy a second scarf. Maybe I could buy a pair of mittens. Maybe I could buy a hat for this guy, right? But it was good for you. And again, I didn't need that, but I was just hoping that I found it strange. Good for you, right? Good for you. Not a thank you, but good for you. Anyway, gave it to this gentleman, Chris. So grateful. Gave him a gratitude stone, which I travel with, and I share them just to show appreciation to people. And he said, the gratitude stone probably means more than money. Your thoughtfulness of the scarf probably means more than money to me. Thank you. And I told him, things are going to get better. Just stay strong. Things are going to get better. Every time I go to Pittsburgh, I look for him. I saw him about 6 months ago, and he did say that things were getting better, which was great. He still was, on the streets, sadly looking for money, but he said that things were getting better. Right? See something, do something. I don't know even how we got onto this story, but that's the story, Kelly.
Bart, do you think doing something better for him would be getting him a Tennessee Titans scarf as opposed to a Steelers scarf?
Well, I guess it depends on who you're a fan of. So let's look behind you and see if we have any Tennessee Titan gear.
We've got the Oilers behind us, Bart. Come on, man. We got the Oilers. That's that rivalry, right? So
yes,
I would think it would. I would think if you would have got him a Titan scarf and then you would have came back a couple months later, he probably, maybe had started his own business, owned a home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe this weekend when I'm going to see my mother, if I run into him, Tennessee Titan gear is coming with me. All right.
So Bart, do you think a part of the underdog story or the love for the underdog comes from you being the baby in the family? So with your with your sisters and them protecting you being in that spot, does that resonate at all?
Perhaps. I never thought about it, Kelly. You're asking, of course, amazing questions. I never really thought about that aspect, that now is a chance for me to protect, for me to stand up, for me to help others, because my sisters, they were tough enough to be able to protect me in many different realms. In fact, my oldest sister, Lori, when she was a substitute teacher for a while, actually was teaching one of my classes. And you could tell she was protective of me in a very good way. So you know what? Again, Kelly, never thought about that, but that does make sense. Now is my chance to be able to stand up because I was stood up for.
How when the aspirations become your reality, how do you stay in the humble state and the acts of humility that you do?
Like, as opposed to what, I guess, Kelly?
Well, you aspire, like growing up, it's not like you grew up staying in the Ritz-Carlton, right? And you become one of the top executives for them. A lot of times that person could beat their chest and be like, this is my thing. But you have continued to keep the spirit of your parents and that humility, even when you're at the top of the food chain, like absolute top, not only with the when you were with the Ritz-Carlton, but also now being one of the top speakers in the world, most sought after. And I want to compliment you on this because there's a lot of speakers out there that are speaking about things that they've never done. And the reason why you're so powerful is because you're not speaking from theory. You actually were in the trenches and did it. And then now you're just sharing your story.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for all those nice words. I do not want to, I never want to be cocky. I want to be confident. I don't want to be arrogant. I want to be authentic.
Okay.
And I believe, because I have seen the people that reach certain levels that are mean, that are spiteful, that are selfish. I don't want to be that way, because I've seen that, and I've seen how they have treated people. I'll share a quick story that, and I'll make it somewhat anonymous because I don't want to speak negatively. But I was with a hotel brand years and years and years ago. We traveled to Japan, and had the pleasure. The president and CEO of this hotel brand, which was very popular, had a dinner with the internal people that were traveling there on sales calls. And I will never forget, he sat at the head of the table, and the server came up to him and he said, "Don't you know who I am?" In such an arrogant way that I thought, and at this time I'm a sales manager. I'm not a vice president. I'm not the president. I never want to be that way. It just turned me off to the point where I never want to be that way. So that just stays with me, that I don't want to ever be, because I have negative feelings toward the overdog. And when I'm saying overdog, it's, you can be an achiever and you can be successful and you can be the president and the CEO. You can be a billionaire and still be authentic and real and nice and kind and treat people a certain way. I don't like the people that are entitled, arrogant, and mean to others. So I guess I should probably clarify, right? Overdog in arrogance, overdog in power, overdog in beating people up, stepping on toes, stabbing in the back. And I've seen a lot of it. I don't ever want to be that person. I want to help people go from being an underdog, needing help, needing assistance. Just getting back from this conference, Kelly, I got the nicest note from someone right after I was done speaking. And it wasn't, I share my email, I share my text information. I don't want it just to be, I'm doing a keynote for an hour and then bye-bye, you're done. I share because it's me. Here's my email, here's my text, if I can help you. But I got the loveliest note from a woman. I'll just say her first name, Kara. And she went into great detail of why she needed to hear my message on that day. Because she was in the process of, she's going to be having a baby soon. She was in the process of moving and buying a house. She was being challenged with other opportunities in the industry. And she just went on and just said, what a great reminder for me to be resilient and to be flexible, right? Thank you, Bart. You have no idea how much I needed that message now. That's the person that I gave a gratitude stone to. That's the person that I'm going to stay in touch with. That's the person that I'm going to email in a week and just say, "Hey, Kara, how's it going? Do you need anything from me?" That's the most powerful thing. I'll share with you one other story, Kelly, about kind of the underdogs. I presented at a group called FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. This was in February of this year. Sterling, Colorado. It is 2 hours east of Denver, truly in the middle of nowhere, agricultural lands. And I joked, when you open up the door of my rental car, everywhere I stopped, it smelled like cow. Okay. It was just agricultural land and cows, right? That's it. So I presented for 2 days. The first day, about 500 people. The second day, about 400 people, students. And I realized that being part of this group and living and growing up in this area was not easy. They could be a ranch hand, or they could have something to do with agricultural based on the industry there, but it would be very difficult for them to leave the area and do something else. And so many of these students wanted to try something else. So I got this sense of despair, to be very honest, of boredom, of challenge, of it's complicated. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I thought, let me just share this one story with you. And Kelly, I don't think I told you about this, but we were driving to Pittsburgh in December, It was me, my wife, my son, and our 2 dogs. And I'm just flipping through the radio station to kind of listen to some things. And all of a sudden, a comedian comes on and he's talking about encouragement. Like, yes, you want to lose weight, but once in a while you're hungry. So you're going to eat a cookie. It's okay. You're doing fine. You are doing great. And the comedian, his name is Tom Papa, and a very clean comedian, very cerebral. As he said the words, "You're doing great," it just hit me, almost like the message that Kara received from me. This one-way communication through a radio station, "You're doing great," hit me. I thought I was happy. I thought I was content. I didn't think I needed to hear that message, but boy, it just made me feel good just hearing, "You're doing great. You're doing great. Don't worry about anything. Give yourself some grace. You're doing your best. You're doing great." So I've incorporated that into some of my messages, depending on the audience.
Mhm.
This particular high school group, I felt that they needed to hear that. So I said, let's just do an exercise. Turn to the person next to you, look them in the eye, and just tell them, even if you don't know them, look them in the eye and say, "You know what? You're doing great. I'm proud of you. You're doing great." I thought it would last 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It went on for probably 4 minutes. From an audience perspective, that's a long time. Like, I didn't try to get their attention, but it just naturally went on and on and on. And Kelly, and to your listeners and followers, the most amazing thing was then happening. They were standing up and going to other rows and telling people, "You're doing great." Other school districts, "You're doing great." Then they were calling me, "Bart, Mr. Berkey, come here. Can you do me a favor? Tell me I'm doing great." And then guess what they were doing to me? They were pointing at me and saying, "Bart, Mr. Berkey, Mr. Bart, you are doing great." And as I give gratitude stones out when I travel, when I present, they didn't have gratitude stones. So what were they doing? They were looking in their backpacks. They are giving me literally sticks of gum. They are giving me crushed up Pop-Tarts in the baggie. "Bart, Mr. Berkey, you're doing great. I want you to know that you're doing great." So it just had such a profound effect and made me feel good that these kids need to hear that. It goes back to me sharing my text information, my email information. I say goodbye to them. I'm driving to the airport after I'm done, 2 hours away, and all of a sudden I get an email. And it's from this kid named Ben. And in the subject line, it says, "Could you tell me one more time?" As soon as I saw that headline, I pull over the car and I start reading it. And he said, "Mr. Berkey, thank you for your message. I really needed to hear it. Can you do me a favor? Can you just tell me one more time that I'm doing great?" What kind of response am I going to give? What would you give? "Ben, I just want you to know I'm proud of you. I'm proud of." It's not easy to reach out to a gentleman that you just met for 45 minutes at a keynote presentation, to be vulnerable enough to reach out, to ask that. "I am proud of you for reaching out. I'm proud of you for being part of an organization. You are doing great because you're trying to learn. You're trying to get better. You're trying to learn how to be more business proficient. Thank you. And you are doing great." So I sent that, right? An almost immediate reply, Kelly. "Thank you, Mr. Bart. I don't hear it very often. I don't hear it at home. I don't hear it at school. Kids pick on me. They bully me. This means so much to me."
Mm.
Now, once about, and it still gives me goosebumps and tears that this kid needed to hear that so much. And so many of us need to hear that so much. Once every 3 weeks now, I reach out to Ben. I send him a little reminder. "Hey, you're doing great." I'm a little worried because I've not heard back from him for a while. I don't know his last name because it's like, I love dogs at gmail.com. I don't know his last name. I don't need to know his last name.
Yeah.
But just the power, right, of being able to tell people you're doing your best and you're doing great. You're doing great. Kelly, with you, what you're doing, how you're spreading the vibe, you are doing great. To the people that are listening and that will be listening, guess what? You are doing great. Life is not easy. We all have things that are going to be challenging to us. Things are going to come our way. Everyone has something, but guess what? You are doing great because you're doing your best. Just right, simple, Kelly. It's so simple, right? Watch people, observe, anticipate, over deliver. How can I help someone now? And if we think that way, and I do this other experiment when I'm presenting to a group, and if we're in rounds, I said, for the next 30 seconds, I just want you to stop for a moment. I'm going to stop, but I want you to observe the room, the table. I want you to anticipate, and I would like you to over deliver. What could you do right now to anyone to help anyone in this room? And some people don't see it, but guess what? Other people are like, you already finished your cookie. I'm going to go up and get you another cookie. You had iced tea. It's melting. I'm going to bring you a cup of ice, right? I saw that your pen wasn't working. I'm going to give you a pen. You've been sneezing. I have an extra packet of tissues. I heard you had a headache. I have an extra bottle of Tylenol, right? It is those things that we can do every single day, but sometimes we just have to get out of our own mind in our own head. Think about it. It's 60,000 thoughts go through. The average person has 60,000 thoughts in their mind every single day. Imagine, and like 90% are repetitive, 85% of them are negative. Imagine if we took some of those thoughts out of our own head and started thinking, what can I do to help? What could I do for Kelly? What can I do for my wife, my spouse, my kids, my dogs, my mother? What could I do? And I share this other thought, Kelly, about take some of the pressure off. And this came from a lesson, a book from Marshall Goldsmith called Triggers. And he talks about keeping track of what you're doing. And I've kind of revised the philosophy, but it's essentially basically the same, that you identify a few things that you would like to do. And we're going to call them should do's, not things that you need to do, not things that you want to do, but things that you know that you should do that you've not yet had a chance to do. And it's not someone pointing fingers at you telling you should do this. It's in your own mind, your own heart. One example is, I know I should be a better son for my mother. My mother, as we keep on mentioning, 88 years old, lives in Pittsburgh. It's 4 hours away. So if that is my goal, what is one thing that I can do today to do my best to be a better son for my mother? And those are the examples of, I already called her this morning. Great. Today, that's what I can do. What can I do tomorrow? We're going to drive to see her. After I leave her, what can I do to do my best to be a better son for my mom? I can order her groceries. I can send her a postcard whenever I'm traveling. I could send her flowers as a surprise. I could plan a time today when I'm going to pick her up and bring her to our house in Northern Virginia so she stays with us. And if you think about just doing your best, and Marshall Goldsmith's point is, if you do your best, you give yourself a 1. If you didn't do your best, you give yourself a 0. And that way, it's very simple. And I'm not saying that I need to be the perfect son today. All I need to do is do my best today to be a better son. And you can even equate that to fitness. I'm not going to have a goal of losing 50 pounds. My goal, my should do is my should do is going to be focus on my own fitness, my own health and well-being. And so it takes the pressure off, because I'm not going to wait until I lose 50 pounds, because I'm not going to be able to check that off in 3 months, in 4 months. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. That's not immediately gratifying. But if I am focusing on my fitness and health today, what can I do today to do my best? I could walk the dogs an extra 20 minutes. 1, going to give myself a 1. I did well. I did an A. Right? If I'm eating more protein today, I'm going to give myself a 1. I did my best. If I ate a cookie today, but I chose not to eat 3, maybe that's doing my best. And just think about it that way, right? And I think if we do our best to help others, if we do our best to give to others, it's getting out of our own heads to be able to help others. And then they feel good, we feel good. You have an idea, I have an idea, we share, we now have 2 ideas, right? I have an apple, I give you an apple, only one person has 1. But if we give of ourselves, if we give of ideas, if we give of affection and caring and kindness, then everyone gets full.
Bart, when a person
Totally
starts
not what you asked.
Well, it's great though. The one question, well, there's a couple questions here that you opened up when you said there's 60,000 thoughts. Who did that experiment? Like, and who was the person that was like, I had 15 of them. I always
Yeah,
question those ones, right? And then,
yeah.
do you know that 95% of statistics are made up? I'm joking with you.
Yeah.
That's a statistic that I just made up for that joke that I just
Oh,
told you.
funny.
But
Yeah, no, there
who was
was
the
a study.
doctor?
And
Who was the doctor that sat down and
Yeah.
was like, 1, 2, 3
Yeah.
thoughts, 4 thoughts, 60,000
Yeah.
thoughts?
In fact, yeah, and it was done. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like Cleveland Clinic. But if you type in, right, how many thoughts do we have a day? I'm almost positive it's Cleveland Clinic, and
Yeah.
I should have had that more prepared before I start throwing
No,
out
you were
those numbers.
perfect.
Yeah, and I don't know, Kelly, how they would evaluate, right, total thoughts, and then the negative thoughts, and then the repetitive thoughts.
That would
But, I
be
mean, but
the worst job
Yeah.
of all time,
Yeah.
Bart. That would be like the person that had to sit there and be like, "Did you just think about something? Did you just think about something?"
Yeah.
That would be a tough one.
right.
And do you think that they just did it over the period of 5 minutes and then multiplied it, or do you think that they did it over an
Yeah.
hour and then multiplied it, or they did it for 24 hours?
Wow. Yeah, I have no idea. But after we're done with this call, I'm going to type in 60,000 thoughts a day, Cleveland Clinic, to get a little bit more specific, right? But I mean, but if you think about it, and I share this example, and I kind of do a little improv, right, from the stage about, okay, I'm thinking, how much time do I have left? I'm thinking everyone is paying attention. I'm thinking it's a little hot. I'm a little sweaty. I would like to take off my jacket, but I'm not going to because I'm a little sweaty. How am I doing on time? Is everyone engaged? Am I a little sweaty? It's a little, right? Like, you think all of these things, and I mean, and it's true, right? And then if I could even just outline those thoughts, the negative thought is, am I going to run out of time? The good thought is everyone is engaged. No one is falling asleep. No one has their laptop open. That's a good thought, right? The good thought is people are taking pictures of the slides. People are taking pictures of me. That's a good thought. The bad thought is, well, if I send out text information I'm presenting to 1,000 people, what if only 100 people send me the text to be able to get a capture of the slides and some great takeaways via landing page? That's a bad thought, right? And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of thought, right, every single day that we have. And my suggestion, what I've kind of learned, I have a binder, and I have a G tab for good thoughts, and I write them down. And I have a B for bad thoughts, and I write them down. And at the end of the day, if I have enough time, which I prioritize, I look at them and say, boy, the good thoughts. I was on an incredible conversation with Kelly Cardenas and his listeners. That's a good thought. Right. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
A bad thought is, my wife does not like the combination of this shirt with this this pocket square. She doesn't like the combination. That's a bad thought. Right. The good thoughts are, right, can't wait to be able to get replays and to be able to share this and tell my mother that I talked about her on a really famous show today. That's a good thought. So the point is, you write the good thoughts down, and then at the end of the day, you have gratitude for them. You're like, oh my gosh, it was a freaking great day. My son's working from home today, and I made him breakfast. That's a good thought, right? And then the bad thoughts, how bad were those bad thoughts?
Yeah.
Was I really sweaty? Did that matter? 100 people wanted to follow me afterwards instead of 900. Was that bad? Well, I look at the 100 that wanted to follow me, and I've changed their lives. Are you kidding? That's such a great, I'm going to focus on the 100. So it's an interesting thing that we all go through it, right? Good thoughts, bad thoughts, let them come in, recognize them, write them down if you can. End of the day, say, the bad thoughts weren't so bad.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened.
The
I'm still
reason
here.
I just think about it from an analytical mind, right? And so from an analytical and a math perspective, if there's 24 hours in a day, there's 60,000 thoughts. Let's round it down to 20 hours in the day, right? So that means that we're thinking 3,000 thoughts an hour. Would that be right? 3,000 thoughts an hour. So at 3,000 thoughts an hour, if you did that over the course of 60 minutes, right? That would be 500 per minute. Okay. You just told me about 10 of them. In a minute, 500's a lot.
Yes. And I'm wondering at what level the thoughts become, like, are they subconscious thoughts or are they true thoughts. Like,
But that's
even
what
as I'm
that's what I'm
looking,
saying. Like, I
yeah,
want to go to
yeah,
the clinic and I'd like to sit
yeah,
with the doctor.
yeah.
Now, I'm not a doctor, but I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. And so I'm almost qualified.
Yes, sir.
But to think about how they actually, this is amazing. This stuff blows
Yeah.
my mind. How they actually determine, if you had a subconscious thought, how would they know?
Yeah, how would they know? Yeah, and I don't know, but I'm gonna Google it as soon as we're
I'm
done,
excited
Kelly, or
about
maybe we're
this.
gonna stay on. Yeah, but again, it's interesting, and it was interesting enough to me that I
Yeah.
share that, and as a compliment to that, I share a gentleman. Social media is great videos, of course. A gentleman that shares a mantra, and he sits in his car and he talks about energy, energy, energy. I only have love for my energy. I only have love for my enemy. I have all that I want. I have all that I need. There's abundance in the world. Energy, energy, energy. I'm not getting it exactly correct, but he is saying good thoughts to himself.
Mm.
So he is prepared to go out of his car into work. He's saying good thoughts in his car before he goes into his home. And imagine if I keep on saying, I'm so tired, Kelly. I traveled, we met hundreds of people. I was on stage. I'm so tired today, Kelly. I'm so tired. I'm so drained. I'm so drained. How is that going to help anything? It's not. I'm going to believe those thoughts, isn't it? I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm here. I'm fulfilled. I'm content. I'm ready. I have enough positivity in my cup to be able to share with you and everybody. And I'm getting goosebumps. And I'm just saying this to myself. Are you kidding me? So we should try that. You want to hear another crazy experiment that I learned of?
Yeah.
I don't want to say crazy, but a unique one. There was a gentleman, you can Google this afterwards, or I could send it to you and you can share with your listeners. Dr. Emoto, Emoto,
Uh-huh.
Japanese scientist, was looking at the study of vibrations to water and then words to water. And I will simplify. Have you heard it?
Hmm.
Okay, so I'll simplify it for our listeners, for your listeners,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Essentially, what you say to your water impacts the water molecules and the water crystals. Imagine we have 3 cups of water, and the first 3 cups we say good things to. I love you, you're amazing, you're incredible, you're brilliant, right? Great. We're saying good things to water, and somehow this water is receiving those vibrations. Then imagine 3 other cups of water and you're saying bad things. I hate you, you disgust me, you're gross. Well, this scientific experiment, Dr. Emoto and his team, they then froze those water samples, sliced them, put them underneath the microscope. And what they saw, the water that was spoken nicely to, said good things, I love you, you're amazing, you're incredible, looked like snowflakes in bright white images, lovely crystals, diamond-like. And then the water that was spoken negatively to, I hate you, you disgust me, yuck, looked like hurricanes and looked like muddied water. And it's just fascinating. So I share that story and I ask people, when you wake up in the morning, and this is part of the Bee Bamboo flexibility, there's morning W's, and it's wake, drink water before coffee. It is walk 5 minutes, get up 5 minutes every hour, wait, get your mobile phone. But when we talk about hydration, again, encouraging people to drink water before they drink coffee, hydrate before caffeinate. And then I asked the question, okay, who drank enough water today? And they're raising their hand. Some are raising their hand. Great. Who spoke to their water? And no one is raising their hand, of course. I shared this with my nephew. He calls me up, Uncle Bart. I'm talking to my water and I think it's helping me. So again, just an interesting study of what's out there, of right thinking good thoughts. You can do the same thing. You play good music on a bed of a paper with sand. Certain music is going to vibrate and make a certain shape. Try talking to your water. And it's all just about saying good things to yourself too. Why not try saying good things to your water?
How do you get back on track when you've done the things, right? So you've done the things, you've hydrated before caffeinated, you've walked, and what was the other W? There was another W?
Oh, yes. Wait.
Okay.
85% of people, and you're going to hold me to these stats. I know. I have to send you the
I'm
studies.
telling you, hey, when they told me 3 out of 4 dentists chose Crest, I wanted to find the 3 and I wanted to find the 4th that said that it wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love these kind of things.
Yes. Okay. So apparently there was a study that shared 85% of people look at their phones within 15 minutes of waking up. Okay. You wake up.
Okay,
85% of people,
hold on. Stop the
bam.
thing here. Who did they call? Like, that's the people that I want to know. I want to know, did they call a bunch of random people and be like, did you pick your phone up? 85% of you picked your phone up. Or did they make them sleep in the place, Bart? Like, this is the part that
Yes.
you're thinking about making
Fascinating.
the world better. I'm thinking about, like, who was this person? Did they pay them?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how did it turn out to be 85% as opposed, because all the stats generally are like on a rounded 5 number. They're never like 73%.
Okay. Right. 85%. Yes. All right. So let me rephrase something. Kelly, when did you look at your mobile phone once you woke up this morning? Did you look at it within the first 15 minutes? Curious.
I did. And here's my justification is I've got a friend who texts me things to do in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay.
But
yeah.
so
right,
you
did. I did. Yes.
Got it. Most people, and I try. This is, I live what I share because it's. I pull it out. Right. I learn things from other people. I encapsulate it, and then I share it out when appropriate. But a lot of people, let's say this, a lot of people are looking at their mobile phones as soon as they wake up.
Absolutely.
Often, what are they doing? They're looking at things. Oh, my friend from high school said next time they were going to be in town that we would have dinner. And oh, I just saw them on Facebook. They were in town and they didn't invite me to dinner. Oh, it's not starting off my day so well, is it?
Makes sense.
I'm looking on LinkedIn and they took a picture of another keynote speaker and featured it. And they didn't even tag me, yet my speech I thought was really good. People seemed to like it, and they didn't tag me. Oh, not good. My assistant that works internationally was having a problem with her computer, and she's not going to be able to help out with a newsletter today. Oh, right. Just imagine. Oh, there's a debate tonight, the presidential campaign tonight, and there's so much controversy about it. Oh, right. There's civil unrest in the world, and there's just imagine things that are being fed to us through this device. I guess that's the point. And my sense is, and this is what I'm learning, if I can deliberate my day, I can use my phone to wake up, of course. I can also have a little alarm clock, $10 at Walmart. I can start the day that I want. I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to have water. I'm going to burn incense, which is right over here. I'm going to play with the dogs. I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to get outside. I'm going to make coffee for my wife first. And that's how I'm going to start my day. I might stand outside. I might smell the flowers that are blooming on the trees. I might begin to hear the birds waking up, and birds only sing and they only chirp when they know they're safe. That's how I started my day. And I don't always do that, but it's a reminder. Wait to look at your phone. Deliberate your day. Spend some time with you. Read a book, right? Read The Vibe by Kelly Cardenas, right? Read Most People Don't by Bart Berkey. Listen to a good podcast, perhaps, but start the day that you want to start it, not being reactive to everything else that's going in the world. I want to start my day relaxed, thinking good thoughts. Some people meditate. Some people do yoga. My wife does yoga every single morning. Deliberate your day. Wait to look at your phone.
How do you get back on track once you got off? So this morning I went through the stuff, right? I did hydrate. So I did pick up my phone though. So I'm batting 660 right now, 666, which is still good. Hall of Fame numbers. So when the Hall of Fame calls, and I'm there, I'm going to invite you to my induction into the Hall of Fame.
I will be there. I won't be wearing this shirt. My wife won't like me, but okay.
Well, no, you can wear the shirt, just not the pocket square. I like the pocket square. Wifey, though, I mean, wear the pocket square. The pocket square looks good.
What pocket square?
Oh, man. No, you need to rock that pocket square. It's a good one.
Hey, I am me. Sorry, what was your question, Kelly?
But I do this, Bart, and I did that, and then I went to the car dealer today, and I had some unfavorable interaction, and I lost it. How does a person, when they're going through that, how do they get back on track?
Yes. Step one, breathe. Just breathe. Before you react, you just closed your eyes. Great. You can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. But before you react, just remember to breathe.
No, but
That's it.
after you've reacted, I'm saying like I lost it. I lost it. They don't like me at all. They'll probably never have me back to the dealership. I was a bad person, a bad dad, just a bad human being. How do you rebound?
Yes. Remember, as we were talking probably before we were live about being bamboo and being flexible. People are not perfect. We are not perfect. I get upset as well, right? You get upset. We are all human. We all have things that are going on. But when you share certain statements that are easy to remember through stories, you do the exact same thing. There's so many stories when you were on my podcast that I remember that I am now quoting you, Kelly. Okay. So think about the acronym again, Be Bamboo. Bamboo is a grass. It is flexible. It bends in the wind. Anytime, that's just one statement. Be bamboo. Can you remember Be Bamboo? It sounds funny. It rolls off your tongue. I have t-shirts that say Be Bamboo, hashtag Be Bamboo. Just one statement. Just one statement. You can remember, Kelly, Be Bamboo. So yes, maybe you got upset. Yes, you should have breathed beforehand. Yes, you should have been resilient. You should have been able to bend with the wind and go with the flow, but you didn't. To get back on that, just remember one statement. Be bamboo. Things are good. And if they're not good now, they're going to get better. And personally, as you just shared that, Kelly, it's okay to go back and apologize. You're not a perfect person. You can go back and say, I just want to let you know that's not how I typically act, and I am sorry. You know how bold it is? You know how many people would not do that? Most people don't admit that they were wrong. Most people don't apologize. But Kelly, I'm just one suggestion. Again, if you do it, I would love to hear it, right? Go to the dealership and say, you know what, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry for how I behaved. I needed to be more resilient. I needed to be more flexible. It was not appropriate to be able to talk to you that way. And I apologize. Will you accept my apology? That's it. Most people would never do that, Kelly. I'm curious. Do you like that idea? Would you consider that idea?
The way I'm feeling right now, and I can honestly tell you no, I don't like it. But it's the right thing, right? But this is why I want to ask you about this, because most people are in that place, right? And right when you said it, and I tell you this honestly, right when you say it, I'm like, Bart, but I was right. Like I was right in the situation. So help me there.
I got you. This is story. I mean, this is so perfect, Kelly. Again, I just adore you as a human being. I just want you to know that, and thank you for taking the time to ask me and learn about me so we can help other people. I shared this story on stage 2 days ago, Monday at this conference, and I will summarize it. But essentially, I was waiting in line. I got to the airport early. I'm standing there, and someone bumps me to get ahead of me in line. I'm at the gate. You know, we're starting the boarding process. And I was angry. Someone bumped me. And when I looked at this traveler, they were a business traveler. They had on the Bose headphones. They were all branded, the Toomey briefcase and luggage and the great three-piece suit, and just entitled, from my perception, right? Entitled and not paying attention, and bumped me. And it bothered me that it appeared that he was cutting in line. So I said to the couple in front of me, I said, did you just see that? Because I saw them kind of pointing and whispering. And they said, yes. I said, you want me to say something? Because I'm 6'2", 230 pounds. I'm a big dude. I can talk loud. Do you want me to say something to this guy that was apparently an overdog, apparently entitled to be able to cut the line? And they said, we also noticed that he was apparently cutting the line, and we bet ourselves a penny. And it was a young couple, man and female and a male, lady and a gentleman. And they said, we just bet a penny to see who was right. She thinks he's going to cut in line, and the gentleman thought he was not going to cut in line. And they were laughing about it. And I said, okay, you know what? You're teaching me to be flexible, right? Just to breathe. And if it was so insignificant, Kelly, that they were only going to bet a penny, what does it really matter? We're in group one anyway. We're not going to have to check our bag. So I learned something from them. The story goes on. They're calling children with families traveling with children 2 years and under, please board. Military personnel in uniform, please board. This one particular airline, global services, please board. That's when this gentleman boarded. And global services, for any travelers that are out there, if you achieve 4 million miles, lifetime miles with this particular airline, you are allowed to board first. This gentleman was a road warrior. He probably barely saw his family if he had a family. He was probably on the road, 300 days a year. He was allowed, he was permitted to board then. He was permitted to kind of scoot the line. He didn't mean to bump into me. The lesson that I learned, and I'll use a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He talks about, I would rather be kind instead of being right. Think about that. I'd rather be kind instead of being right. And Kelly, you just said it, but I was right. I knew what I was talking about at this car dealership. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be kind. It doesn't matter if you're right. Be kind. Okay. So that should put you right back on track. Breathe, be bamboo, be flexible. And regardless of if you were right, you can still go back and apologize for saying, I want to be kind. You don't have to say that I'm right? But go back and say, I want to make sure that I am kind. And I'm sorry that I reacted that way. I want to make sure that I'm kind. And you don't need to do any business with them ever again. That's okay. But boy, how's that going to make your heart feel when you go back and you say, I just want to make sure that I'm being kind. I'm sorry that I lost my temper. That's it, man. And you don't need to do business with them. You don't need to tell anyone that you did it. But how is it going to make your heart feel? What kind of vibe, Kelly, is it going to give you? No pressure, my friend. And I know, dude, it is not easy. And most people don't do it. Most people don't do it. But guess what? Kelly Cardenas does. You do. Okay.
See, I feel like we're in a marriage because I have selective hearing. So I heard the selective hearing that I heard was your message earlier. See something, do something. I saw something. I did something this morning.
Yeah. All right.
I'm kidding with you.
Learn.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I think the reason why I'm struggling with it is because I know that I'm wrong. I know that I'm wrong for being a jerk and for being mad. It's just, there are so many times where I'm like, just let me be mad. I want to be mad. I want to be mad at it. And, but that it helps. Your perspective helps out so much. Let's go to the application part of it, because people will hear a Bart and hear the theory part of it, and they'll be like, yeah, but Bart, you don't understand what I'm going through all the time. But you applied it when you were with the Ritz-Carlton. You guys the elite type of service that you guys provided blows my mind. Like when we go to the Laguna property, it freaked me out the first time I ever went, because I didn't grow up with Ritz-Carlton. But getting to a point where we stayed at them, pulling up in valet, and the guy saying, welcome back, and then asking me my name. And by the time I got to the guy with the bags, he said, hey, Mr. Cardenas. By the time I walked to the desk, they said, hey, Mr. Cardenas. And I just looked around like, how the hell did they know? Can you take us behind the curtain of the level of service that you guys are doing?
No, of course. And I equate, and this is the term that I'm using, observe, anticipate, and over-deliver. They're using technology, and it's interesting. I just got back from the high tech conference, which talks about hospitality and technology. And many of our friends, Nick and Jeff Engel, were there, right? Nick Horgan's going to give both those gentlemen a shout out. But they were talking about how to use technology to deliver better service, not to allow technology to be addiction or a deterrent, but how to use technology to provide better service. In a very simplistic way, they have radios in which they're pressing a button. It's in their ear. They have the microphone. And when they ask you your name, Kelly Cardenas, they are repeating it, and they're pressing the button at the front drive so the bellman knows your name. And they're also communicating with the front desk. So as soon as they said, "Sir, can you tell me your name again?" Kelly Cardenas. "Oh, Kelly Cardenas, sir, welcome back to the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel." And they're pressing that they're pressing that button to be able to communicate to everyone else. And how great and how special does it make you feel when you are being seen and you are being recognized? Even using your name, Kelly, makes people feel a certain way. Using technology to begin to observe, anticipate, and then the over deliver aspect is going to be simply by watching and by asking questions. Think about what we know about you simply by observing. If I came across another model for an Impala SS model, I might happen to buy one and mail it to you as a thank you for being on your show. I might send you a small statue of Michael Jackson, maybe. Is that Michael Jackson?
That's the original Michael Jackson doll from like 1985.
Okay, amazing. I'm not going to send you an original 1985. No, but but think about the things that we know about you, right? We know plenty of things simply by this. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I don't know the character, but please tell me.
This is Redman, one of the greatest MCs of all time, from New Jersey,
Oh,
Brick City.
incredible, incredible. But like think about if I'm observing, if we're all observing, think about what we know each other and think about what our listeners now know about each other. Are you a Houston Oiler fan or are you a Texas Titan fan?
I'm a
Right.
Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans.
Okay. So sorry about that. Tennessee Titans. So we know that I grew up in Pittsburgh. We know that I have 2 dogs. We know that I have a son, but I didn't really mention my daughter that lives in Hawaii, right? We know things simply by asking questions and by observing. If I was standing in line waiting for coffee and I did not notice that the barista calling out the names was losing her voice, I wouldn't have been able to step in to do something. It's this observation aspect. It's asking questions. It is, Kelly, if I came across another beanie that I thought looked cool, I would send one to you. Next time I'm in Southern California, I know that we need to get together and I want to meet your wife and your son, 12 years old.
Yes. And my daughter.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And your daughter, how old? We didn't talk
She's
about
15.
your daughter.
She's 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
But those are the things out of my own mind. And you started actually this, and a very dear friend of mine, Jim Hadley, we had a conversation. He's an executive leadership coach. He runs Tiber Solutions and Tiber Leadership, just a quick shout out. But we had a meeting the other day, just a one-on-one to talk about things. And he said, "Bart, what's interesting about you is that you erase you. I erase me. If I'm in an environment, if I'm in a meeting, I erase me. It's not about me. I'm on stage. Yes, it's me, but I erase me. I'm looking at every single person. I'm memorizing as many names as I can possibly memorize. And Nick was in the front row, and Veronica was there, and Jesse was there, and I met Robert from Bridge Street, and I met Lee from New Zealand. And I mean, I can almost tell you right now what people were doing. Were they on the phones? Were taking pictures? Were they writing notes? Were they sitting front row, third row? Were they like I erased me to be able to focus in on you? And not that, and he shared that with me, and I never really thought about that, but that's what I do. And I'm not saying that there's anything. I don't want to sound egotistical when I say that, but I do think it's unique because I do see in a restaurant who might need help. I do see at a conference who is sitting by themselves. So this conference that I just shared with you, we were invited to an after event right after the major, and they had it at the local ballpark. And there was a gentleman that was drinking a beer, watching. It was so much fun, and it was Nick, and I'll share Gain Advisors, tremendous group. They were doing batting practice for, if I'm a guest, we can go there and we can actually swing a bat, right? Great. So there's this gentleman that was watching by himself. And I'm there with my wife, Terry, who is helping me build my business. And I'm nothing special, but I went up and I said, "Are you going to give it a shot?" And he was from Switzerland. He's the founder of a company. He has 10 employees. His business card is somewhere here. But he said, well, I'm not sure. I only played baseball when I was growing up. And, oh, well, where are you from? I love your accent. Well, I'm from Switzerland. And tell me a little, I'm going to go down to the field. You want to join us? And he hung out with us for the next hour. And we took pictures of him swinging a bat. We took pictures of him with the baseball field in the background because he was by himself. And how many pictures, if you're by yourself from Switzerland, first time to this conference, how many selfies are you going to take that look meaningful? He now has a friend because we observed, we anticipated, and we over-delivered simply by friendship. Let me take a picture of you. Let me take a video of you swinging a bat, right? And gosh, and again, it's not hard, and it's not. I don't want to say I'm jumping to saying that I'm nothing special, but I guess it's okay because not everyone erases themselves to focus on everyone else. And if you just try it, oh, it's now I have a friend, Christopher, and I can't remember the name of his company, and that's not nearly as important as knowing Christopher and sending him pictures. Right? That's what it's all about.
Bart, you're incredible.
Erase
Man.
you. A lot of stuff that we just covered. Holy smokes, Kelly, and grateful for you digging deep into the philosophy. These are things that no one has ever really asked me before. I'm so grateful to be able to share with you and with your tremendous listeners and tremendous followers. It's just there's good ideas out there, and if you take the time to look and listen, observe, anticipate, and over deliver, see something, do something, be bamboo, be flexible. Like those are 3 things that you could write down right now, and it can start doing things for others, and you are going to feel magical. I did this. I erased me for a situation.
Well, I could tell everyone listening though, if you want to just be mad, don't call Bart because he's going to put you back on track. He's going to save the day. And if you just want to be mad, then don't call him right away. Then call him so he can fix the stuff, or he'll give you the tools for you to be able to fix it yourself, which I think is unbelievable. Bart, I mean, honestly, you're better than advertised. It's like being able to spend time with you, man. It makes it better. I had a woman tell me, her name was Terry Cowan. She said, "Can I tell you the truth?" And I was like, "Yes," because our whole crew was there. She was speaking to us. She said, "How truthful can I be?" And everyone was like, 100%. And she said, "Are you sure?" And every one of us was like, "Yeah, tell us. And she said, "You look better from a distance than you do up close." And I was like, whoa. And she said, "I really think that you need to sit as an organization. You need to really, really look at yourselves because from a distance, you guys look amazing. But when a person gets up close, they're underwhelmed." And it was probably one of the best things that we needed to hear because we had hubris at that time in the company that I was with. And I want to tell you though, it's the opposite for you. Like you look good from afar, but the closer and closer that I get to you, Bart, the better and better you look. And it's because you live your message. You live what it is that you're doing. And I want to applaud it at the highest level. I just think that it's incredible, man.
No, thank you. And thinking about, I guess, the reason why I'm trying to think this way. And do we have time for one last little comment?
Oh, go, man. I mean, you're good. This is
Okay,
about
okay.
you.
Yeah, well, so, and I think this is kind of important to know because we were talking about everyone has something. I don't always have good days, but when I don't have good days, I try to remind myself, or my wife will remind me to breathe. My daughter will remind me to always be flexible and be bamboo. My son will remind me to drink water, but like it happens. So you have a resource, you have a group of people that are helping you. But my life when I was growing up took a rather unique turn when I was about 13 years old. I was high jumping at a track meet. And I was going over the bar, Kelly, and to the listeners, and I broke my nose severely, smashed it to this side of my face. They didn't want me to look at it. They wouldn't let me touch it because it would be by my ear. It was that bad. Self-inflicted by my knee. They rushed me to the hospital. I had never been to the hospital before. Scared, 13 years old. I get there before my parents. I'm sitting outside of the operating room. And the doctor had said, it's the worst break that we've ever seen. So we need to do surgery now. I go into the operating room, just stand up like now, walk into the operating room like next door kind of a thing. They don't give me any medicine to calm me down. I jump up on the table, and whatever medicine they were giving me to knock me out did not work, because I heard them say, he's out, let's get started. Imagine, felt like my body was up here, operating table, and then my consciousness was under here. I couldn't move, but I could hear them talking. I heard them clinking the surgical instruments. I don't know, Kelly, if that lasted 10 seconds or if it lasted 10 minutes. But when I recovered, I remember that I said to myself, I would rather be anywhere except having surgery. It was that traumatic. When you don't have control, when you can't talk, but you hear things, it was like an out-of-body experience. The worst experience that I've ever had my entire life. 13 years old, that's how it impacted me. After surgery, they didn't do it right. I still couldn't breathe properly, but that impact of the out-of-body feeling, the out-of-body experience, them not hearing me not being able to move, affected me to the point where I was afraid of doctors, I was afraid of nurses, I was afraid of hospitals. Got so bad that I was afraid of course, getting knocked out for any surgery, future moving. I was afraid of losing control. I would never drink. I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't do drugs, of course, and a very good thing. But I also had trouble falling asleep because that was losing control.
Mm.
So bad to the point where by the time I was 13 to 18, when I was living at home before college, I had to say to my parents, I'll see you tomorrow, right? I needed their validation that I would not die in my sleep. Think about how freaking sad that is. For 5 years, I'll see you tomorrow, right? If my mom would say, I'll see you in the morning, then I know I could go to sleep and not die. That bad, right? Horrible. As a result, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. And this was, late 70s, early 80s. And they didn't know necessarily what panic attacks were. My dad looked at me one time and said, oh, your eyes are clear. You're not doing drugs. You're fine. You're fine. My mother would bet me when I went on volleyball trips, $20 that I would not pass out. If I passed out, she would pay me $20 because I had this fear of passing out, losing control, dying. Horrible, right? So just imagine this, and no one to help solve it. So fast forward many, many years, I'm still afraid of that. Finally meet my wife, Terry. She encourages me, go see some doctors, right? Get some happy pills in case you're having panic attacks. Get something to kind of calm your nerves, right? Eat differently, everything helping me, right? So now I can travel anywhere in the world. I barely have panic attacks. I can handle things. The point is that fast forward 40 years, I'm on stage and I'm talking to a group and I'm encouraging them to do what most people don't do. Show kindness. Most people don't. Say thank you. Be kind instead of being right. Most people don't face their fears. You should face your fears. And as soon as I said that, it was like a message to me said, I'm still afraid of getting nose surgery. Here I am 40 years later, not being able to breathe because of a deviated septum, and I'm afraid of having nose surgery. And when that hit me, I talked to my wife. I said, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's get it done. Schedule surgery, outpatient. 3 hours later, my wife is in the waiting room. They said, look, he's doing great. Pull the car around. He's ready to go home. And all of a sudden, at that point, during the recovery, my heart attacked me. And the anesthesiologist came and said, Mr. Berkey, you're having a heart attack, but we're going to take good care of you. They rushed me from the surgical center over to the hospital. They did surgery. I was in ICU for, X number of days. But I'm here today to say that I'm alive, to say that most people don't, as a philosophy, save my life, because I was probably destined to have a heart attack based on genetics anyway sometime. I could have been walking the dogs in the woods. I could have been in a hotel room alone. I could have been on an airplane, and the outcome could have been very, very different. The point is, I faced my fears, and now I'm here. I did what most people don't do. My greatest fear of going into that was dying. And what happened? I almost died. But guess what? I didn't. I did not. I share that story to let people know if you have issues with mental illness, if you're sad, if you're depressed, if you're unhappy, that's okay. Things are good and things are going to get better. Look at me. I travel and I have every single day, I wear this little necklace that my son gave me. And inside are happy pills. I can go anywhere in the world. I can speak in front of 10,000 people on stage. But put me in the back of a Target grocery store where I don't have easy access to get out, I might have a panic attack. But guess what? I'm okay. I have this. And sometimes I forget this. And I still am okay. You are not alone with what you are dealing with and what you are being challenged with. That's the reason, coming full circle, Kelly, I think why I look for good things is because I need them, right? Selfishly, I need them in my heart. I need my wife to be happy and positive. I need my son and my daughter to help inspire me. I need my dogs to be gracious and kind and lick me. I need my friends Kelly to do what they say they're going to do. I need good encouragement from people on social media. And I take all of these things. If I drink water, if I remember to be flexible, if I think about leaving people feeling better after I met them and the vibe with Kelly, if I pull that all into my heart, it's going to help me be a better person. And guess what? I then erase me and I share it and I share it. What do you need? I share it. Would you rather be kind or would you rather be right? Kelly, be bamboo. Go and apologize. Be flexible, right? And I'm sharing it. And that is just the most amazing thing. And then now to have friends like you and Nick and Jeff to be able to help spread the message even more, that's my destiny. And thank you for helping me to fulfill my destiny. It's not easy what you do, what we do. It's not easy, but boy, don't we have the purpose? And aren't we content in doing and helping? I just got a note this morning. And as I was talking about gratitude stones, the impact of that, I got a note, friend of Nick Horgan's from the conference. She was getting up on stage to conduct some type of a discussion. Nick gave her a gratitude stone that I had given to him, which is fair. That's what happens. If someone needs it more than you. And she just said something along the lines of, I love the idea. And when Nick gave it to me, it immediately relaxed me. And I had the confidence to go ahead and present. Like that little gesture, we can keep doing that, right? We can do that for each other and we can spread the word. We can spread the news. We can read books that each other writes. We can listen to podcasts. But then we have the power to be able to remember simple things. Just go out and do. So thank you, Kelly, so much for having me on your platform to be able to encourage people and to spread goodness. That's what it's all about. Nothing else matters. You are the most important thing to me right now. Your listeners are the most important thing to me right now. Imagine saying that to your spouse, to your friends, to your colleagues, to your relatives. You are the most important thing to me right now. Phone doesn't matter. I'm going to deliberate my relationship with you. I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to be bamboo. I'm going to do what most people don't do.
Bart, you just thanked a bunch of people for giving them millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of life experience. And that's just, it's amazing the person that you are. I started the podcast because of my two kids, Maddox and McKenna. Maddox is 12 years old. McKenna's 15. And I didn't want them to worship idols. I wanted them to be inspired by icons. So what advice would you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could use both their names, it would be awesome.
Oh, absolutely, for Maddox and McKenna. And I saw a little video of Maddox already. I can't wait, right? Maddox, your son, and McKenna. So Maddox and McKenna. It is not easy growing up during this time that you're growing up. But my suggestion is look outward. Stop scrolling, put your phone down, and start experiencing. Look to see how you can help other people and think how you can over deliver with any act of kindness. And just remember, like the simple statement, if you can do what most people don't do, you are going to make a difference. Just do what most people don't do. Observe, anticipate, over deliver, and do. Help somebody. Do your best. And probably lastly, put yourself into uncomfortable situations, because when you do that, that's when you truly grow. It's okay to help a barista at a Starbucks at a convention center. It's okay to say hello to a homeless person. It's okay to pick Betsy to be on your kickball team, even though she's not the most athletic. It might not be popular, but you can do these certain types of things. It's going to help you grow as a person. It's going to help you evolve, and it's going to help you contribute to society and the world. So Maddox and McKenna, I'm proud of what you are doing. I'm proud to know your father. I'm proud to get to know soon your mother. Know that putting forth your best effort is all that you can do. You are perfectly imperfect. And finally, you are doing great. Maddox and McKenna, I'm proud of what you're learning, who you are becoming, and what you are doing.
Bart, you're an amazing man. You're an incredible man. Thank you so much to Nick Horgan for our introduction. And if you haven't listened to, most people don't. If you haven't listened to that podcast, you have to. It honestly, it changed your life. And also following Bart and seeing him at some of the conferences that you'll go to if you got a company or a conference. And honestly, like you would be doing yourself a disservice to not have him come and speak. But I'm proud to be your friend, man. It has been absolutely phenomenal. We'll have all the links to Bart in his bio also. But it's been a pleasure, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. From my heart, I'm going to go write down good things that happened today. And it was having an amazing conversation with Kelly Cardenas, feeling the vibe that you are giving out. I'm grateful to know you. And because I don't have brothers, you and Nick and Jeff and so many other are my new brothers. So I appreciate you, brother.
You're awesome, man. And you're officially off the hot seat. Hold on.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.